Once I realized that I was the problem, I thought everything would just kind of magically start getting better. But in reality, it didn't. Because awareness is one thing, but actually changing your life is something completely different. Nobody really tells you about what happens next. You sit there and you see your patterns, you see your mistakes, and you see how you have been living. But now you're kind of just sitting there in your tracks, stuck with the same question on repeat. Where do I even start? Because it's not like you can just wake up one day and undo years of habits, years of reactions, and years of just different ways of thinking that you've had. It simply doesn't work like that. The first thing that I had to do was learn how to be more honest with myself. And not like a surface level honesty. I mean a real honesty that comes with admitting the things that you don't want to admit to yourself. Things like your anger or your pride, or something for me was the way that I handled situations, the way that I treated people at times. It's easy to sit there and say that you want to change and you want to be different, but it's a lot harder to actually look at yourself more clearly. But that's where it has to start, and that's where it needs to start. The next thing that I had to do was go travel back in time, back to the moments that I ignored, the things and the moments that I buried, and the experiences that I had honestly told myself that didn't matter. Because the truth is, you can't fix what you don't understand. And a lot of people, or I'm sorry, a lot of what I was dealing with didn't start in my present moment. It started way back in my childhood. So I had to go all the way back there and start connecting the dots to this point in time. And then eventually came the hardest part about all of this, taking back control of my reactions. Because I couldn't control what already happened to me, but I could control what I did moving forward. Instead of reacting, I learned how to pause. Instead of shutting down, I learned how to communicate. Instead of running, I learned how to face things. And I'm not gonna lie, there's still some stuff that are a work in progress. And one of the biggest things that I am still actively working on is the concept of forgiveness. And not the kind where, like, everything's gonna be okay, but the kind where you let go of that weight on the inside that you've been carrying all this time. Because if you're anything like me, all you've been doing is holding on to anger and resentment. But holding on to all that stuff doesn't hurt the other person. It keeps us stuck in place like glue, making us feel stagnant. And forgiveness isn't about them. It's more about learning how to free yourself from all of that. And for me, a big part of this process has been my faith. Understanding that everything that I went through, even the hard parts, was God's way of shaping me into something. That every struggle that has been presented in front of me has had a purpose behind it. That He's just not making me go through these things willy nilly for no reason. And that shift in perspective has helped change how I look at a lot of different things. But this hasn't been something that just simply happened like a snap of a finger, a drop of a dime, or even overnight. There are still a lot of days where this is pretty hard. There are a lot of moments still where old habits are trying to come back into play. But the difference now is I'm aware of it and I'm working on it day by day, every day. And that's what real change looks like. Not perfection, but progress. If you're at a point in your life where you're tired of repeating the same cycles, you're tired of feeling stuck, tired of not understanding yourself, just know this. You can change your life. But it has to start with you being honest with you. And you have to be willing to put in the work, even when it's uncomfortable. This is just a part of my journey. If you want the full story, the things that I went through, what I learned, and how I'm working through it in detail, I put it all in my look. And you can click on it in the link of my channel bio. But until then, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.